Right, so welcome to another episode of the Chat Fox with me, Sam Wright. This is Jack Fox. Say hi, Jack.
What's up?
And we are joined by Eyeconic. Say hi, Eyeconic.
What's good, bro? You all right?
Yes, good, man. Good. It's good to
I'm
see
gonna,
you. Good to
I'm gonna
talk
wear
to you.
these.
Nice.
Yeah,
Swag.
perfect.
Excellent,
Yeah.
man. Now
Incognito mode.
you've brought the swag all the way up now. So yeah, fantastic. What a great way to start. So yeah, I guess what we'll start with is how you been? How's the music been? How's life?
Life. It's it's a bit strange to gauge because of everything that's happening. It's not really doesn't really feel like life because I'm not really living it how I used to, especially in the second lockdown. Yeah, but apart from that, like I just try and stay productive as possible because that what keeps me going. I'm also attending uni. For those that don't know, I'm in my second year, and yeah, pretty much that, man. Just working on new music and getting ready for 2021.
Yeah,
because
looking forward.
like what I've learned this year, like because I wasn't able to go outside and like have because my music grew because of all the face-to-face stuff, like performing and appearances and stuff like that. So now I had to translate that into like all the online stuff, and I had to become better on Instagram and Twitter and all these things. So it just forced me to step outside of my comfort zone.
I think a lot of artists have realized that as well. You know, I mean, when this first started, everyone was doing live streams. I know you done a fair few.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that might have been a little bit new to you. It certainly was to me when I was doing it. You know,
yeah, it was
energy's
strange.
different. Yeah, man, it's hard, but I do feel like it sort of develops you a little bit. You know, because it's easy to gauge off a willing crowd, but when you can't see that crowd and stuff like that, you've really got to be able to just bring that energy yourself. You know.
Yeah.
You don't get that call and response sort of vibe, you know?
Yeah, it's strange. I was about to mention the call and response. Like I did one live stream and I was like, oh yeah, when I say spit one, just type in lyric.
Love that, man. Love that.
So have you made a conscious effort to like step up your social media game?
I have, yeah.
Have you been like learning strategies and shit like that, or just doing it
with the strategies? I feel like everyone tells you how the Instagram works, but I don't think anyone has a clue how Instagram works. So in a weird way, where like, well, I know some people who are absolute whizzes, but like they have so much attention to the detail and everything that like I'm not capable of that. But I just try and be consistent because I feel like these social media apps, all they want you to do is be consistent and make people stay on the app as much as possible.
Yeah.
So like they want you to comment, save the pic and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the only conscious effort I've made, just trying to be as active as possible on my stories and get people to engage with them. So it's
I've noticed like the view, like I don't want to be the guy that like counts views or whatever, but the views of my stories my followers have been going up and my story views have been decreasing like crazy, unless I put on like a poll or like ask me a question or something.
Interaction.
Then the views tend to go up. So I don't know what the crack with that is.
Because it's the poll makes it so people are engaging with your stories.
Yeah.
And if people are engaging with your stories, it tells Instagram that your stories are interesting. I'm not saying that your stories aren't interested naturally. I'm just saying that like this is the way Instagram sees it, and then Instagram will show it to more people. And by show it just means it will pop up a bit earlier than some others will do. So it's like a ranking system from what I understand. So it's like everyone's fighting for space at the top of engagement.
Crazy.
It's almost
it's
like
weird.
a game, isn't it? It's like, I mean, social media. I remember I watched something that was years ago now, but there was something the narrator said, and he was like, social media is just like a game, you know? and you just got to play it and level up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's mad. Have you seen growth then in your social media? Like, have people been sort of interacting with you more? Have you found it easier to interact because you've had a bit more time? I don't, how are you using your time in lockdown?
I mean, like half the time I don't even want to post, which is the brutal truth. Like I don't really want to be posting stories and like documenting my life or like asking questions. Like half the time I don't really care for the answer, apart from like maybe Kendrick or Drake, or like, do you prefer grime or drill? But I did like a little poll recently.
Yeah.
Or like I did a poll on people's favorite liquors. But like apart from that, it's just like, okay, cool. Like what's actually gonna get people engaged? Okay, this is a part of my day, so I can ask about this, and then it's like it becomes a video game. Like it becomes a video game that you're playing, which coincides with your real life. So then like you begin to structure your life around something that doesn't really exist, because none of this shit exists. Like as soon as you turn your phone off, none of this exists. Okay, so you start to structure your life around something that isn't particularly like real. So
that I remember when because I had a couple of moments where I was so focused on numbers and I was so focused on interaction stuff, I wasn't getting anything. I was doing live streams, I was trying different apps for different live streams. I was just trying my best to make it feel like it was worth doing, social media. And there was actually one night where I just lost it and I just deleted my Instagram completely. Just I woke up the next day and I instantly regretted it. But then at the same time, I felt quite free, I feel like with social media, it almost controls you at times, and you've got to be able to regain that power, regain that control. And for me, that was literally just cutting it off. And I think I was away from social media I came off for about a week. And it's funny that you say, like it's not real, because the reality was completely different. Different things made me happy that, that should make me happy. And, it wasn't, I wasn't worried about comparisons. I wasn't worried about likes. I wasn't worried about this. I didn't actually feel like I had any responsibility to actually post something, because in my head I'm thinking, oh, I should post something. People are probably waiting for us to post something. Well, really they're not, because everyone's got their own thing going on in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you get this thing in your head where you're like, oh, I should probably post something. And it's this pressure that builds up within yourself. It's mental. It's mental, literally mental.
How do you feel about it, Jack?
I used to feel pretty similar to Sam in that, you're both called Sam, huh?
Keep forgetting that, actually.
Yeah, like I feel like it was like a game when you had to like not one up other people, but had to be consistent, also had to be in people's faces and stuff. And I feel like if there's like a gig coming around or a song coming out or something, then I will do that. But over lockdown, I've only posted like a few times, I think, because for a start, there's nothing going on really, and just I'm not bothered, and I don't feel like people care about what's going on in my life. So,
do you feel like you have an obligation to entertain people in that way?
Who's cool?
Both of you. So Sam,
I'll let Jack go first.
Oh, Jack, go on.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I got the old got the sniffles here. An obligation? No, not really. I'm not. No, I don't think. Not an obligation. I enjoy entertaining people, but I don't mean I'm obligated to do it. Especially now, like, I mean, I guess when people come to a comedy show and they pay money to do it, then or a rap show, but not on social media. I like doing it because it's fun and it's silly. And I like if people are like Instagram and stuff like that is like people never take selfies at funerals. People only swag on Instagram when they've got I don't know, like glasses like Iconic has, or like cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like people don't like Slav squat at funerals and post up. You know what I mean?
Bro, if one of you, man, like if someone from the scene doesn't slap squat at my funeral, I'm gonna be disappointed now.
So people only like swag on 100 on Instagram. So so I feel like if you scroll through and then there's me doing a silly, I don't know, sketch or something, then it might break up your bit. But I don't feel obligated to do it. I just do it because that's what I feel like posting. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
I don't. It depends. It depends how I'm feeling in myself. Because if I'm feeling good in myself, then I feel like I can present the best version of me online, and then that version can potentially entertain people.
Yeah.
But what I do feel obligated, well, sometimes I feel obligated to do is speak out on certain things.
Yeah.
Like when there's anything happening in a political hemisphere, then like that's when I speak out about things, especially because when there's things that happen in Poland, because there's like a lot of weird things happening in Poland for the past year or so, and every time something happens, people turn to me and like my inboxes get flooded and they're like, oh, how do you feel about this? Oh, do you agree with this? Like, no, I don't agree with any type of like suppression of people, but like, thank you. Now, like, I'm apparently the spokesperson for Poland now. Like, I've lived here for 14 years. Like, bro, I'm pretty much like, but so I try and stay like as educated as possible so I can make the right comments on things and maybe shine light on things and give perspectives that some people might not have.
Yeah, I went through this, especially during lockdown, where I felt like I had to say and speak about things, you know. Like I'm quite open in the way that I speak, especially about my own mental health and stuff like that. I'm quite passionate about speaking like that, but something came over me when I put a story up, or I done a live or something, and I came away with the feeling of regret. Like, just because you have a platform to speak on doesn't always mean that you need to speak on it, you know. Especially if you're not really educated on it or something like that. Like,
especially that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes even if you are, because you know that in a way it can sap you of your energy as well, you know, in yourself. And I felt like with certain times I was posting just for the sake of, I felt like I had to, when really no one was really waiting for it. It was just something that was in my head, just being like, you know, you've spoke out on a lot of stuff before and stuff like that. Like, you should probably do it this time. And I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. You know, I'm just gonna, you know, I've tried to quieten myself down on social media now, and just focus on, you know, the music and stuff like that. I've tried not to have a voice like that, because especially now in social media, there's always someone that's going to be opposed to you, no matter what. You know, so
I posted that status. I don't know if either of you saw, about the people putting trackers in the COVID vaccine.
Right.
And
I'm not sure. I don't think I saw it.
It was they're not putting trackers in the COVID vaccine. You're 35 and you work at Sports Direct, bro. It's not that deep. Like,
yeah, I did see that.
it got like loads of people shared it, and I mean, it went like northeast viral, I guess is the word.
Yeah, northeast viral. Yeah.
There was a guy, obviously, that was like, "Oh well, actually, if you read this information about the thing," I'm like, "I was just making a joke, man. It's not."
Yeah.
And then it was like a full-on conversation. Then he hopped in the messages and he was like, "Well, you know, it was nice to have a conversation with you." But, man, I don't. Hop off it, man. It's social media. Like, it's not like what you were saying. It's not real. Like, it's just Facebook. It's not. Nobody cares.
And due to back to like the actual speaking out things, I also try and like. So this is like separate to the point I'm gonna make after your point, but So back to speaking out about things, like I try not to speak out about things unless I can add to the conversation. So I don't, because a lot of these issues I speak about are not really issues that I always like experience. Like if it's something about like racism, like of course I don't expect, I experience like xenophobia, but I don't experience racism. So like so when I speak out about that, I need to speak out in ways where it doesn't make the conversation about me, where it doesn't look like oh, look at me, like I've studied this. like you can't do that. But back to your point, Jack, like because it's so easy to just write a comment and still be detached from the situation, it's so easy for people to just like say anything online and like start a debate. Like, bro, we're not debating, like you're just talking to yourself. Like this is not like this is not a debate. Like,
absolutely. I like what you said about you know, sort of talking about something and speaking out about something, but trying not to make it sound about you, because I think that's what stopped me from, you know, coming out and talking about things. Like I didn't want to put myself on this platform and sort of, you know, wrap myself in these in this sort of cloak of, you know, this of wisdom, you know, because that's not what it is. But if I'm being completely
Cloak
honest,
of Wisdom's a great name for a death metal band, by the way.
It is.
Cloak of
We are
Wisdom.
Cloak of Wisdom.
I love that.
But yeah, like
it's lit.
I do feel like sometimes, I really try to practice this, but like just try and humble yourself with every situation, you know. And I think about just being an artist as well. You know, a lot of the time, stuff just speaks out through your music as well. You know,
100.
and I think that's what I want. I want to be able to put music out that people go, that really spoke to me, instead of having to rant on a Facebook status or rant on a comment. You know, I want that to be my outlet. I don't want
it's
to.
Like
when
a lot of people, when like there was recent things happening, a lot of people kept asking J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar to speak out, but Kendrick Lamar literally made To Pimp a Butterfly about it, and everyone said like it still went platinum. Okay, it's like a groundbreaking album in hip hop, but everyone was like, a lot of people I know were like, oh, it's too political. And then when the things that he was talking about start happening again, because he was just commenting on things that were happening back in like 2014, and that those issues just keep resurfacing, clearly showing that the world has not learned. And everyone's like, oh yeah, well, these guys make music about it but won't speak up about it. That's because you already you undermined them already by saying it's too political, or he's trying to be Martin Luther King. Like, no, he's just like, he's trying to speak to you through the medium he knows and understands, instead of posting online. So like, but that's why sorry, go on, bro.
Well, sometimes that's the best. Kendrick Lamar is an exceptional poet, songwriter. Sometimes that's the best way he can express himself is through music. He might be better at expressing himself through song than he can a tweet, which is like, what's a tweet compared to a piece of art that is a butterfly?
Exactly.
One of the best albums
absolutely,
ever.
Absolutely. I feel like some people sort of, that's the only sort of weapon they have, though. You know, it's the only weapon that they have to bring to the fight. Whereas being artists and being songwriters and just creatives in general, you've got such a variety of weapons, you know, and it's about picking the right ones to bring to the fight, you know.
And one more thing, people need to stop seeking justification and like validation for their own beliefs from famous people. That's just one more thing I'm gonna add. Like back to that, like Kendrick Lamar, like whatever Kendrick Lamar says, it's probably not gonna be that much different from your opinion. So just like, I don't know, like develop your own opinion. I just want everyone in the world to have their own opinion. Like not what your dad said, not what your mom said, not what your great granddad said, not what your little brother says after he watches like fucking CBBS. I just want you to have your own opinion and tell me why you feel like that. Why did you? Because sometimes I will say something. I might say something in this conversation that we have, and then I'll wake up tomorrow being like, you know what? Now that I've thought about it, I've actually changed my opinion. Because you sit there and think, and like, and everyone like as soon as something happens, people are like, oh, so what's your opinion on it? I'm like, well, I haven't even been able to think about it. Like this literally just happened. Like you don't form, like if people could form opinions like this, and Einstein's like theory of relativity would have happened overnight. Like this is like, I don't know, just
I think also as well, I don't know what you guys think, but I see on your social media, people express how they're feeling through other people's posts and like, you know, like memes and stuff like that. And
yeah.
it's
You hate
just
memes, Sam. I've got a beef for you about this. You hate
man.
memes. And I don't understand how someone who's of our age can hate memes.
Because I just think it just dumbs down things, man. Like,
Look, but memes are such a broad. It's not like tomato soup. I can understand you not like because it's a thing.
I love
but
tomato
memes
soup.
are such a broad. It's like I don't know.
Tomato soup.
I mean, shout out to Heinz. You know what I mean? But like,
nah, it's
but
homemade,
memes
bro.
come
We
in all
Polish
sorts
out
of
here.
forms. Though. How can you hate memes? Why do I keep hitting my own laptop here? Why do you hate memes?
I don't know. It might just be the people I've seen that are posting them.
If it's like the cat going, "Can I has cheeseburger?" Then yeah, get with the times. Like we've evolved. Were you ever on Vine?
No. No.
I gotta go. No, I'm just kidding. But
I tried TikTok, right, and I came off it after 2 minutes.
I don't know what TikTok. Well, I know what it is, but like, I'm not on it because
I just
31.
don't have the patience to be consistent on it. Like I just don't have the patience.
Do you have a TikTok?
I do, yeah. But I just don't post, and if I haven't posted anything for like about 4 months, maybe. I just don't have the patience, which I like. It's a great platform. You can grow like your, like whatever comes out and it starts popping off is a great platform because like at the time when it started popping off, like the way the algorithms worked, like your reach was mad. Reach. So like if you managed to build up your profile and then started promoting your music, that was like a good little technique. But I don't have the patience to sit there and record like 20 TikToks a day just so I can like space them out over a month and like drop them. Like, I'm not doing that.
Well, this is the thing. I feel like you've just got to choose. You got to prioritize. Unless you know exactly what's going on with social media. But for me, like I used to have Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, Bebo, Habbo Hotel, whatever the hell. You know what I mean?
Habbo Hotel, you know, that's a throwback, bro. That's a
RuneScape,
man. That's sick. RuneScape.
Honestly, but the thing is that I couldn't space them. Like I couldn't be like, because it would take me like an hour. You know what I mean? An hour to bloody post everything on. You know, so I mean, I don't use Twitter anymore. I just don't know how it works. To be honest, I've never understood it. Instagram seems to be the thing that works for me. What works for you?
Me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do, I use every platform differently. I don't post. It's rare that I post the same content on each platform.
Okay.
So if you check Twitter, it's me just shouting into the void half the time, and then sometimes it will be about music. I'll retweet things and just it's my fun place.
Okay.
It's the most toxic place on the internet, but it's my fun place because like I don't really have that many followers. So even if I say something wild, no one's like, "Oh, Eyeconic's a bit of a dick." Yeah, I just have like good crack with people. Like I just talk to producers and stuff. It's really good to network with other artists and musicians and people involved in the music industry. It's a very good tool on Twitter. On Facebook is because what Facebook has that Instagram doesn't have. Like, yeah, you can write like a long bio, like a description, like a caption on Instagram, but it's very visual. Instagram is very visual, so I try and keep it like short and sweet. Whereas if I have something to say that I like started to say on Instagram, I can expand on it on Facebook. So it's still the same content, but then on my like quote unquote fan page, like I think that sounds cringe, but like on the fan page, I can expand on those ideas or even write something completely different and still have like posts drop on the same time, but on completely different platforms. And like if I'm promoting a tune, I'll post the same tune, obviously, but I'll be promoting different things from the tune. So like on Instagram, I might promote like a screenshot, like a screen grab, but on Facebook, I might promote like I don't know, like a breakdown of a lyric or something like that. And just like there's more to it that you can do. So like each platform has. I didn't even realize that I was doing this until like now that I'm explaining it.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad,
like, yeah.
I've noticed that you've started to post more on your Eyeconic page on Facebook, like more, not even really music related, just talking about things that are going on and political things and that. Like it's good to see people using the posts that way, like their page.
Because anyone can accept your friend request on Facebook, but if someone takes the time to like your fan page, then that means there is some level of love. So that means when I do speak about things, like they'll care more about it, even though it reaches less people than my Facebook would. But these people like have decided to go over to my page and click like, instead of just being like, oh yeah, cool, like add friend, like so it means a bit more to me. And I'm like, okay, if these people, if they have a different view to me, then I will take my time to like listen to what they have to say. Whereas like the random guy that's a member of the EDL, like when I speak about Polish issues, of course he's going to argue with me that that guy that added me when I was like back in school, and he grew up and he became a member of the EDL, and I'm not really aware of it because I don't really stay on like the timeline like that. Like he'll argue with me, but like, so it's just
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, man. What's your interaction like in terms of, do you get like a natural interaction like via social media and stuff like that, like with like different people, like new people and stuff like that? Like, do you have fans or do you have friends?
I've got both, I think.
Yeah.
Like I've got my friends, but I don't know how to explain it. Well, it hasn't grew as much as it did when I was performing. Like when I was performing, and then like, but because of the music I make, when people listen to it, they feel like they know me a lot better than they actually do.
Yeah,
which is fine because they do find out things about me that even my friends didn't know. So like that's when that connection gets created, and they feel like they're a part of like something that's bigger than just like an artist, because it relates to how they feel, and it creates like this mad little connection.
Yeah.
But also like I'd heard of you before I knew you as a person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was like a fan of you, like spit one lyric or whatever, or you did a.
Oh, I wasn't
pick
aware.
and mix with any Dons.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've gotten to know each other over time, so now like we're mates and that. So
yeah.
And it's probably the same for a lot of people in the scene as well. Like we're all fans of each other, then we'll meet each other at gigs and stuff, and then become mates, and then it's just how the scene grows, isn't it? So
yeah. When it comes to musicians, I don't really count them as fans. I count them as my music friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, because I don't know, as a musician, we can all appreciate other musicians' music. I don't even know how to explain this point I'm trying to make, but it's kind of like, we're never gonna be as diehard fans as like someone who sits there and listens to their music like 24/7 and stuff like that. Like
I was thinking that because I feel like it's very easy to interact with musicians, but I feel like in terms of if you're getting likes and stuff off artists and stuff like that, it's a very give and take sort of thing, It's very much about just supporting each other. And that's like where, the community comes into it. But in terms of a fan, they're not going to want anything back off you apart from you making music. And all you want of them is for them to listen to it,
and give me money. No,
give you money and interact and just, and just see you as the artist, But I feel like musicians, and this isn't a bad thing, I feel like a lot of musicians, they see you as an opportunity or a friend, or or just like a talent, and I think in terms of that, like, I think especially for me, my audience are artists, you know, because I feel like
Right.
I've had to build up. But you've been going a lot
But
longer.
but you've built you've got a management
And
company.
exactly.
So that's a completely
Exactly. And I'm very aware of that. This is the thing. But I actually want my audience to be artists because I want people to sort of see what I'm doing in that sense. And if they like it, they share it, and they share it to their fans, you know, their reach. It's all about extending reaches. But the thing with me is I'm very aware of the give and take situation. And I'm very aware of, I mean, I support, you know, I support all the artists in the Northeast. If I truly am into them, I support them. But I use that Wright Music and Management as a way of showing my support, because I feel like I'm quite new to this. I am quite new to this. I've been in the scene, you know, since 2012, 2010 maybe. But I've been in bands since I was 15, so I've always been aware of this. But
well, if you were probably in the scene before I was, then
in terms of local music, yeah.
But
I had no idea about Northeast hip hop or
oh no, I was aware of like Northeast hip hop, but like Northeast hip hop, like until Hash Rotten Hippo, Leddy, and 90 Bro. So Leddy was the first one to like give me like any type of love, and then it was Hash Rotten Hippo and 90 Bro, and like I dropped, I think it was 2012 or 2014 when I dropped. Actually, no, I have no idea when it was. Oh well, but I dropped a mixtape called Nicotine Blues, and that's the first time I got love from like Hash Rotten Hippo and 90. So one love to them. But apart from that, the scene didn't really like. They were like, oh, like this Polish kid that sounds American, it's trying to rap. It's not until I teamed up with TGF and I started making grime, and then I did Spit One Lyric up in Newcastle. That's when it finally started to like pick up legs.
Yeah, definitely. What about your journey, Jack, in terms of through Northeast hip hop?
Nobody wants to hear that. It's fine.
No, well, I want to hear it.
What did you ask? About my journey. So, what do you mean though in terms of?
Just in terms of how it sort of developed. Like, how did you get into it? How did you, you know?
Well, funny story. I mean, I've always liked music and stuff, and then when I was at school, I used to hang around with kids who used to like rap music, so then I got into that. And then me granddad, who I got the name Fox from, because my granddad was a comedian called Alan Fox. That's where I inherited Fox from. Used to go to a place called Tyne Dock Youth Centre in South Shields, which then got renamed to the Cave. And had a recording studio there. And I used to write, like, I didn't know anything about like 16 bars or anything. I'd just write. I'd pick like my favorite like 50 Cent beat and just 5 pages of like really garbage lyrics, no doubt. I went to the Cave, and when I was at the Cave, I ran into Stephen Miller, who's now a mate. And then Miller, and this other guy called Michael. Do you know Michael Selby?
Michael.
When I just talk about random people and full name them on podcasts, but you know what I mean.
Name rings a bell.
We were like the only 3 rappers in South Shields.
Yeah.
So, well, us and Rick Fury and Dialect. And when I heard Rick Fury in that, I was like, oh, people from Shields can rap. This is really crazy. And then ended up joining like a 3-piece sort of rap trio with them, and would do gigs with like other bands who I went to school with, but they were like rock bands. So there'd be like rock bands playing like White Stripes covers, and then we'd come on doing our rap songs, and then they'd do like AC/DC covers and stuff. It was really weird. And then when I was at school, sorry, I got bad allergies. When I was at school, I did GCSE music, and my teacher at the time said that the rap music I was doing wasn't musical enough to pass me exams, because I wanted to do a cover of Changes by Tupac.
How is that not musical enough though?
Well, because I was literally just rapping into the microphone, like I had to show some sort of musical originality.
You should have just started doing like a solo, but vocally.
Well, I can't sing
over the top. Yeah, but you could have just done some like ska singing.
I was like, well, I'll write my own lyrics and that. He was like, but anyways, he was like, well, it's rhythmical, so why don't you start to play drums? And I was like, all right, fine. So
So you were rapping before you played drums?
yeah, and then I went,
Interesting.
and then I fell in love with drums. Stopped rapping. I was like, rapping's weird. I want to listen to Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Chili Peppers and stuff.
Yeah.
And then got back into rapping through rap battles. I used to enjoy watching rap battles.
That they did at Headworth Hall.
Yeah, was your favorite battler?
I've kind of fell out with it, but I mean, at the time, it was probably like Luna C, I guess.
For me, it's Disaster.
Oh yeah, Diz is.
Is that the Don't Flop? Is that Don't Flop? Is it?
Yeah, he's King of the Dot.
Oh, King of the Dot.
Disaster's like an American word, yeah, American guy. I started to get Slater rap battles with a friend of mine, and that went crazy. And like for a good year or so, year and a half, I'd go like round the country. I'd go to London, battling Liverpool, up to Scotland and stuff like that. Crazy time of my life. Then just started to naturally make rap songs, I guess, after that, and then joined Hive Mind, and then started to go to Hash's nights at was it Arch 16?
Arch 16, yeah. Wait, have we met there?
I don't know. I think we met at the Any Rising nights?
Yeah, because I used to go to Obscene.
Oh, maybe we did then. I can't remember. But I was also in a band with Harbour Master. That's like me and Martin.
Oh yeah.
And then he started he was like huge into the Wu-Tang Clan and stuff. So he started to make beats as I started to get back into rap music. So then he'd send me beats because I was the only rapper he knew, and he was the only beat maker that I knew. And then we made like those 2 mixtapes, and I started to do like Obscene and stuff. And then
Harbour Master is crazy talented. Like I think him and Shaq are working on the tune, and it's mad.
Yeah, he's just opening his studio in a couple of weeks. I think I'm dying to get in.
He's just mad passionate about artists, man. That's what I love. Like he was given free sessions to the winners of the rap nights that we were doing at Mason's.
Oh, sick.
So he was offering that, and he did it for all of the nights. He did it for the kids junior open mic nights. He did it for everything. So I've got nothing but love for him.
He's really passionate about the Northeast as well. I think more so because we often get overlooked in it. So,
and that's the thing as well. Like, are you passionate about the Northeast and the Northeast music scene, Sam?
Oh, the pause. The pause. He's more than the words.
No, I am. I've got like this idea of where we could be if we just did certain things. And I think I voiced my opinions online, and there was certain people that got very emotional over it. But all I was talking about is the fact that none of us need to like each other, but we all need to keep like a level of quality. And if you don't need to like someone, but if you don't hate them, share it. If you hate them, whether like hate their guts, don't share it. It's cool. But if we all agree that this is like what we're doing, and instead of arguing on Facebook, we're gonna focus on this and just keep it moving and get onto the BBCs and the other radios, Amazing Radio and stuff like that. And then try and get onto maybe like Represent. Like I managed to get Dial on and Represent when it dropped in London, and then like maybe try and get other people on there, or like or also I was talking about ownership and how like you probably had this issue because I've seen you post about your mixtape, how like if you don't own the instrumentals, it can get like really weird when uploading it to online. And then like, or sometimes I'll go and buy an instrumental, but I'll buy like limited rights. So I've only got the rights to get 50,000 streams. And like, okay, I'm not getting 50,000 streams right now. Okay. Like the song with Reality that has like this the most streams, but I'll never get above 50,000 streams because in my mind I'll be scared of even pushing a song that far, because like what if I break the contract? Like I'll have to renew the contract, or how do I even get in touch with this producer that I just bought the beat of? So like it's like if we could find a way to maybe work with local people, I would love to do that. Like work with local people, build something, and just agree to to like 50-50 ownership, and like, and I don't know, just trying to see the bigger picture.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to one of my friends, Jonesy. I don't know if you know him, Jonesy MC.
Yeah.
And he was chatting about how it's we don't really have like a culture, you know, like in terms of like in London and stuff like that. They had the grime scene, and everyone was sort of, you know, on each other's back and stuff. It was a community of people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we don't have an essence of community, but I do feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of people, as much as the collabing and stuff like that, they're sort of on their road, you know what I mean? They're on their journey and stuff like that. And yeah, it's fair enough, you know, share, you know, this and share that and stuff like that. But I feel like in order to really seem accessible, we've got to go to the blogs, and we've got to go to, you know, the radio stations and stuff like that. And I know Jack has probably had a very different experience with this. But with me seeing it, like, for example, if I see someone post something and I see it's got no likes and no comments, and it's been up for like an hour or something, I'm just going to like that, just because I know how it feels when you receive that love, because that like isn't just a like, that comment isn't just a comment, that share isn't just a share. It's it's an indication that someone really has you know, got into what you're doing. Someone's really sort of, you know, even if they haven't listened to it all the way through, they've took time out to stop scrolling, because it's so easy to just scroll. They've took time out, and they're going, there you go, that's my love for you, sort of thing, you know. And I feel like that needs to be reciprocated. And I mean, obviously, I'm not saying everyone just share the love and peace and joy and all this, you know. But what I'm saying is, if I see someone like that, and that's why I've been doing reactions and stuff like that, because I want people to feel appreciated. You know, I want artists to feel appreciated, because it's not easy doing this. It takes a lot. You know, it takes time. It takes effort. Some, you know, with some people, they're pouring the heart out. They're pouring the soul out. You know.
But then, just because someone's pouring their heart out, does that make it good music?
Absolutely.
That's another conversation.
Absolutely.
But you know,
DNI was like me pouring my heart out, but it could have been trash. Like that would have been so
well,
bad.
that's what I was going to say. Like, we're fortunate that we do know a lot of really, really talented people, but obviously there's going to be some people. But I find a lot of people who put music out or whatever, then you listen to it and you think, it's not really. Then you find out that they're only like 19 years old, and you go, oh, well, they've got 5 years to get good before you go, oh no, it should be. Or they're at school still. Like look at someone like Scranabis, like his first mixtape that me and you, Sam, we were on. You know, it was pretty good. But this one he's just dropped is like miles ahead of the last one.
In terms of development.
How old is he? Like 20, 19, 20, 21?
Yeah, bro. And he's got business mind. Like this youth has a business mind. That's why I love Scranabis as much as I do.
He does, man. And
I have a laugh with him all the time. But
he's matured,
I love this kid.
He's matured. He's really. I think one thing, and a lot of artists have actually, they've regained that belief in themselves, you know, and they're ready to start thinking in a business sense, you know. They're ready to start taking themselves seriously as an artist, you know. They believe in their craft and stuff like that. And I have to say, Scranabis is one of them. That's just I really enjoyed listening to his last EP, and I love seeing what he's doing. I think there's so many that are evolving and developing, and it's so great to see, man.
100. Yeah, cool. I could do some bilingual bars in a battle, but I would love to battle, but it's just like I watch battles all the time, And like recently I'm showing it to my friend Angelique, and she's like, oh, you know what, you'll be good at this, you should try this. And I'm like, you do know this is a completely different environment. When you're there, there's no beat, nothing, and you're just there to like it's all right, because I know for a fact I could stand there and tear apart this man's whole existence. Like I could sit there and literally like I don't know, like fucking send for the dinner nanny that serves food to his son or whatever. But I think I would feel really bad afterwards.
Right, so that's why.
Yeah. And also, what if they say something I don't really like? Like,
you just fucking clock them.
Yeah, it's kind of like, bro, like, I don't know, but it's I would definitely like to get into it eventually. Like, I don't want to become a battle rapper, but I would love to battle. Not.
I mean, if it's something you want to do, I think you should try it at least once. But also, like, so the two parts to what you've just said is, I rarely get nervous before I go on stage or perform for anything. But especially the one in Liverpool, I was like not nervous, but like second guessing myself, like rehearsing in the toilet, like pure Eminem and 8 Mile, looking in the mirror, like going to the bars. And then you think
arms are sweaty. These weak arms are sweaty.
Everything's sweaty. Your man's sweaty.
Your mom's a slag, sweaty.
Your mom's a sweaty slag.
Guess yourself and think is this any good? Is it funny? Is it like the worst, like the wackest rap you've ever? You get in your head too much.
Just put these on, bro, and just be like, your mom's a sweaty slag. She gonna punch like a heavy bag. I'm a deadly act. Set me back. Left bars. Put my gun in a Bible, call it Jesus peace.
But actually that's a good point though, because I think you've got a really unique way of not writing, but like you have a really unique style. I don't want to dick ride you or anything, but like,
thank you, bro.
Your style.
No, we did that in the last podcast.
And like the way you write bars and stuff is unique, and it's very consistent, and the multis are always like bang on point. So I think you'd be really good for battling, because it's similar to like if you have like a punchline and work backwards.
Yeah, I like battling because without the beat, there is just so much space.
Yeah,
there's so much space, and some of these sometimes I'll have like a scheme when I'm writing. I guess we're just getting back into the podcast.
Just let it happen.
So sometimes I have a scheme that I'm writing, and I'm like, oh cool, like, but there is restrictions due to the beat, due to the tempo and stuff like that. Whereas I think to myself, if this wasn't on beat, I could drag this out so much, and like, because I see it all visually and I see it all in front of me, and I'm like, this could go there and shit, and like, and then, but there's a beat, so it's like, but if I battled, then maybe. Like, yeah, I don't know.
You think you should try it, man?
Yeah, you definitely should. I would say so, but yeah, like, see, this is all new to me. Like, you talk about schemes or whatever the hell you were talking about before, Jack.
Yeah, we need to sit down. Sometime, and I'll just like, we'll just have a hip hop night.
Just educate me, man. Educate me, because this.
How do you write then, Sam? Do you just sit and think I'm going to write now and then just write?
Well, I write it like just poetry. You know what I mean? I write it in terms of like syllables. I try to keep it rhythmical, because obviously I'm a musician. I know about these things in terms of that, but I think I just want to make it just sort of all fit between the lines. You know what I mean? But the thing is that I don't know what I'm doing. I just go with it because it sounds all right. And I don't know the theory behind it. Like, even like just being a musician now, I've just started learning about theory. I know me and you spoke about this, Sam, and it just opened my eyes and mind to just so many different, so many other things. But in terms of rap, I like what I like. I don't really listen to a lot of rap. To be honest, I've mainly been inspired by the likes of you guys and and the people that I put on at me events. That inspires me. So my standards and stuff like that have been set from my peers and artists around me. And I mean, I personally think that a lot of the artists in the scene can compete with some of the best at the top at the minute, you know.
No, thank you. You've mentioned that in the last podcast, and that's how I feel half the time. It's kind of like I love everyone locally, and I rate them, but I'm not competing against them. I'm competing against the likes of like Kendrick and Drake. Those are like the people I look at. I'm like, these guys are doing exactly what I want to be doing, and I want to be better than them.
Yeah.
So that's why I write the way I do. And also when it comes to hip hop overall, it's like so before hip hop I got into reggae, but obviously I didn't understand English at that point. But I just love the energy of it. I heard reggae for the first time when playing San Andreas, and my favorite radio station became the reggae station, and Max Romeo, Chase the Devil was on there. And I'm like, what is this? Like, this is insane. Like, I love this. And then as time went past, I discovered more artists like Chezzy Deck and Collie Buds and stuff like that. And then what I would do, I would start like writing out their lyrics or like find them on the internet. And then I would, this is by the time I'm already in England, I would write them out and try and learn all this stuff. And obviously patois and stuff was completely foreign to me. Like, I'm just learning English. So now I'm learning English and patois. So it's like it's a completely different world to me. But it made me, because my experience in England wasn't the greatest.
Yeah.
So like my identity wasn't built by my surroundings and like Middlesbrough. It was built by the music I was listening to, because that gave me an escape, and like that gave me confidence. And then hip hop came around, and then like the TGF lads introduced me to grime. Like, I was introduced to grime by like some of my close friends before, but only certain songs, whereas they showed me the whole culture, and that's where I really found myself and I found my confidence. But at the same time, this is like, I understand that this culture, I'm not really a part of it. I'm just a guest in this culture. Like, no matter what I do, this is not my culture. And which is why I treat it with the utmost respect. Like, you can ask me anything about hip hop and I'll most probably be able to tell you, whether it's like Rapper's Delight, Sugar Hill Gang. Like, I know hip hop from all the way back then, but also know like bounce music from New Orleans. I know all the Dirty South stuff. I know the hyphy movement from Bay Area. I know like the G Funk from West Coast. I know like the boom bap from New York. I know like all the strands of hip hop, and I love it and I respect it. And that's the type of approach I always try to do with this, because this is the culture that gave me life. Like, I wouldn't be the human being that I am now if I wasn't able to vent through this hip hop medium, which is like, I will meddle with like different genres because I love music as a whole. But it's hip hop that gave me life, and like,
awesome,
I think hip hop and possibly like jazz are two of like the only genres of music that have a whole culture built around them. Ironically enough, having to be predominantly black styles of music. So I don't know what that says for you racist pieces of shit that are out there.
When people, when someone's racist and then they're like, oh yeah, I love the Ariana Grande song. I'm like, that song only exists because of blues. Like, if it wasn't for blues, none of this would exist. Okay.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of genres have like, have been built because of blues, because of because it all started out with a certain chord progressions, a certain a certain rhyme scheme
came from blues.
Foundation, man. It's foundation. But the thing is, I feel like it's, in terms of music, it's been skewed by branding and turning it into a business or turning it into whatever.
That's always going to happen, isn't it?
Always. And I mean, there's not
really capitalism.
But when you have like what you're saying, when you've educated yourself on the history of the craft that you take so seriously and you have so much respect for, then I mean, that shows in your music anyway. It
Thank you, man.
Definitely does, and it shows with the passion that you speak about it as well. Because I feel like a lot of young rappers now, or young artists or whatever, they just want to replicate what's going on. They want to be a brand before they're even the musician. And I feel like, especially in the Northeast, it's so important to have people like yourself that have that knowledge and that education to educate them, pass it on, you know, whether that be through actually speaking to them or whether that be through music. And again, when you have this sort of platform and you're seen as a respected artist, the way that you respect the artists that you do and in the music that you do, I think it's important to be accessible as well for these young artists and stuff, because like it or not, you have influence over them, you know.
No, I hear you for sure.
So it's so important to know, you know, what tone of voice you're speaking in when you're speaking out, and it's so important to, you know, to be aware that you do have influence, whether that be through your music or whether that be through a post that, you know, that's why I really took away from the fact when you said when you speak out about stuff, you don't want to make things about you, because it's so easy for opinion to take over fact when you're, you know, when you've got an ego, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because like sometimes I will like, even sometimes when I'm typing things up, I'm like, wait, like this is my ego speaking out. Like this is me. It's like so I like to think I'm a very spiritual person. Okay, this is like it kind of relates to what we're talking about, and people like will speak to me and are like, oh, you should start like a YouTube channel and like talk about like your philosophies, like the religions you studied and stuff like that, and try and like pass that knowledge on, like, you know, gurus, like let's say what's his name? Is his name like Russell Brand?
Yeah.
No, what's his actual name? The guy with the long hair.
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
Yeah. So I think like if you're truly a spiritual person, like you wouldn't do that. Like you wouldn't sit there and be like, this is the way you should exist and this is what you should do. Because that, for me, that's ego. Like even being like that, for me, that's filled with ego. And like, he's a smart man. He knows how to structure sentences. So people are like, oh, he's so good. But like, no, he's just like hiding behind like very complicated rhetoric. Like this isn't like very enlightened human beings. Enlightened human beings don't speak to no one, bro. They sit in a shed and meditate. Like that's the difference. And it's the same when this, like, am I trying to show people like some type of information, or am I trying to flex with with my literacy skills, or like with the way I can speak? Like there's a difference between these things, and you need to be very aware of them, because you can get lost in it and gas yourself up and be like, oh, I'm so smart. Like, no, bro, like, no, like, are you trying to say something positive here, or are you just trying to flex? Like,
but if you say that through your music, it's a positive outlet.
Yeah.
And what I was going to ask you, Sam, was do you feel it's important to do that with your music, to be able to speak out about stuff like that, in terms of even just how you're feeling? You know, we spoke about this a couple of times. I think definitely a couple of times, Jack, where we spoke about how important it is to, you know, sort of be honest within your artistry, you know. How important is that to you?
It's very important, because like, you're not in my music, I don't really play a character. I am myself, and I try and be the most honest reflection of myself, and it just makes life a lot easier, because you don't, like, when you show up to places, or when I go on a podcast, I don't need to like be like, oh yeah, one sec, I need to get in character, like, like, no, none of that, bro. Like, I'm not here trying to like read off a script. This is really me, and I think that's really important. Whatever background you come from, just embrace that, and really show the world that, like, I don't know, because everyone's different, but emotion is universal. So like, we might have went through completely different things, but something I say has a certain emotion attached to it that you felt at one point, or you're feeling right now. And even though you might not relate to what I'm saying, or I might not relate to what you're going through, it's that emotion that connects. And when you're like truly honest within yourself, you don't get held back by anxieties, because a lot of people will think, oh, like, well, I can't really write about this because, you know, people will think I'm an idiot. Like, no, bro, like, you're the only person here that thinks you're an idiot. Like this
Yeah.
is your anxiety speaking out to you and holding you back. Like,
Mm.
and this doesn't mean that like you need to be very honest in the way where like you speak about your emotions. You can be very honest in the way that like you say you're happy. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
always mean
yeah.
like sad things. Like just embrace the fact that you're happy. Like it's like I don't know.
that's important as well.
Mhm.
To, you know, there's so many different kinds of emotions. It just,
Yeah, exactly.
just being honest isn't just talking about how, you know, depressed you are, or like
Mhm.
how, you know, or how hurt you feel,
Mhm.
or this, you know. And I think when I was writing, you know, with the mixtape, I got lost in the fact that I was like, oh, I'm so honest, and I'm just laying myself bare, because, you know, it's all this stuff about how I've been feeling and how I've been down, and this. But then you've got it. I think it's easy to write about that stuff. You know, I do feel like in terms of, it's easy to write about it. It might not be easy to put it out there, but it's for me. I'm talking personally.
Mhm.
It's easy for me to write about how I'm feeling. It's harder for me to write an uplifting, you know, to something along those lines. I mean,
Mhm.
immediately when I write, I go straight to heartbreak. I go straight to relationships.
Mhm. Those
That's
are raw emotions. That's
yeah,
and like you remember them the most. It's like try and count up all the sad moments and then try and count up all the good, like the good moments that you actually remember. Okay, because this is like if we're trying to be honest, we're really drawn from memory, and
yeah,
sometimes it's that's why when we're sad, it's hard to remember the times when we were happy and be like,
yeah,
okay, cool, like this is temporary. That's why we think like, oh my god, like this is gonna like last forever. But so when we're happy, we don't really take the time to sit down and be like, wait, actually, we're happy. Like it's okay. And then when we're
yeah,
sad
exactly.
again, yeah. And then when we're sad again, we can be like, we can reflect on the fact that we were happy and be like, okay, like this doesn't last forever. Happiness doesn't last, nothing ever lasts forever. Okay.
Exactly.
Like, so it's just important about remembering those things. But like maybe, I don't know, when I think of like my happy memories, it's like, oh, Poland. And that's like, and then I'm trying to draw for like memories that I had when I was like 8 years old. Like I'm almost 25. Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard
yeah,
to
yeah.
draw for that now.
For me, happiness, in the way I look at it from a creative point of view, is like nostalgia. You know,
Mm,
and a lot of the things that make me happy are nostalgic things. You know,
yeah.
like, for example, just playing Pokemon, or, you know, or like there was like Tony Hawk's that was remastered. Like I bought that and I was buzzing. You know what I mean? But
Mm,
it's just it's crazy. I've made a conscious effort to write about more positive things, and also within the mixtape that I put, I realized I was writing too much stuff about how I was feeling, and all, and these emotions in that sense. So I was like, I need some stuff that's going to, you know, build it up, because also you don't realize that the influence that your music has on people can it can influence their mood. It can influence how they're feeling. It can make them
mm,
think of a memory, happy or sad. You know, that's why being a musician and artist is so powerful, man. That's why I talk about these things like these weapons, because
mm,
they can affect someone. You know,
yeah.
um, or they can build someone up, and that's the thing. I know your writing is very different, Jack, but as I've said multiple times, you're not just a one trick pony in terms of writing in that
Oh, for
sense.
sure. Yeah.
You write about deep stuff like 15 minutes that I always bring up, because that's always something that pops out at me, you know.
Can I just say something to Jack? What happened to that song we made, bro?
I knew you were gonna bring that up. I've got it. I've got a whole. I don't want to give out too much away, but I've got a whole plan for next year. So it's all right.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Let's
Just
go,
keep me in
man.
a
Yeah,
loop.
me and Sam have a sad boy tune coming out
Do
next
it.
year. Yeah, but me and Iconic.
Oh, right, I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, okay. That's good, but it's important to tap into both sides, isn't it?
Mhm, for sure.
I do feel.
He caught me
Um,
in like the time when I was writing TNR, or when I was actually about to put out DNR, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or,
it was not long before. Yeah,
yeah. So you caught me in a perfect time to write that type of
yeah.
stuff.
That was produced by Harbour Master. Actually, going back to what we were
Mm,
saying. Great,
Brilliant beat.
nice beat and sounds. Yeah, I've got it. I've still got it though.
I must say, Sam, in the album you put out, it was professional as hell. Like just how you crafted it, you know, the start of it, how how things gel together and stuff like that. I have to say, it definitely inspired the way that I structured progress. But
who did the artwork? The artwork's so sick.
yeah.
You asking me or?
Sorry, Eyeconic.
Yeah. Sorry. Danny Void. He's been doing my artwork since about like 2014.
Yeah,
Right.
man.
Yeah, he's just amazing, brilliant.
The Dialone artwork and DNR is so good.
Just the whole body of work, man. The whole body of work.
Thank you.
Can tell there's been time put into it. You can tell, you the belief that you have in yourself to compete with, the people on the top tier. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And did you do that? Did you sort of structure it in that way and produce it in that way and and come at it from a professional point of view to do that? You obviously you mentioned you want to be competing with the likes of Kendrick and Drake and stuff like that. You don't see that a lot within releases album wise in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
And were you aware of that? Were you like, right, this is time to so I'm not taking anything away from but the way that you did it and the way you promoted it and the plan that you had, it was very professional. And
Thank you.
A lot of people notice that and paid attention to that.
No, thank you. So sonically and the way so usually how I would think about writing a conceptual album, how I'm like working on my next piece. So my next piece is going to be like 2022, but like that's going to be the next album. And like how I'm structuring that is I'm figuring out the story, what I want to tell, because it's all going to be from personal experience. Like 9 out of 10 times it's all about personal experience. I don't really do like storytelling tunes apart from the tune with Shaq, Could Be Worse. That was me like still taken from personal experience, but I'm writing about this lady that I used to know. So so I would sit there and like plan it all out, have a conclusion, have like plot twists, how you would do with like maybe like a short story or whatever. But with which how I assume Kendrick Lamar does with his like Good Kid, Mad City's. Like Good Kid, Mad City is a full-on story from front to back, where he's like he borrowed his mom's van and like his mom keeps calling him like, oh, where are you? Like we want Domino's, blah blah blah, and like it's such a beautiful, concise album. Same with The Pimp a Butterfly. So that's the natural way to structure an album, I think, a conceptual piece. But but with DNR, all these songs, majority of them anyway, maybe apart from actually no, B3 was finished. Flow On, Could Be Worse. Those were the last 2 songs I think I made for the actually wrote for the album. So before that, all these songs were just songs I put to the side and put them in a folder called Release This If I Die. It's a bit morbid, but it was just like, I'm gonna vent and I'm gonna put this there and just leave it there.
Yeah.
So my friend listened to him and he was like, oh bro, like it would be a shame if you actually never released this. It would be interesting if you made like something conceptual out of this. And then he's the one that actually suggested the name Do Not Resuscitate, because I didn't know DNR was a thing. Like I wasn't aware of it. And then I've done my research. And then I started because I was going through some things and I had a bunch of voicemails. Like I just had like people trying to check up on me, call me, and I ended up recording them, like playing them on like speaker from my phone, recording them into my microphone, and just like structuring songs. Like I had 90 Bro call me just because he was like visiting up north, and he was like, oh, nothing but voicemails and find my phone, and he's like, oh, sorry bro, like it went to voicemail, so I had to. And then like that's what I put straight after Dial On, and that's what gave it a feel that this is really planned out, when really it was coincidence. but in a way that makes it a bit more beautiful, because it just these puzzle pieces fell in the right places. Because I didn't want to call my friends and be like, oh, bro, like, could you please say this on the voicemail? Like, I didn't really want to do that, which I could have, and it would have probably worked a bit better, but I really wanted to be organic. Like with the next piece, it's going to be a lot more planned out, but with this in particular, it was like that. And then like, when it came to the promotion side of it, I was observing a lot, like what other people do. And like, especially Drake, like Drake just creates these moments and doesn't take himself too seriously. And then those moments almost, the internet creates those moments out of him.
Yeah.
So like with Hotline Bling, like, bro, that little dance he did, like that became huge. People just started animating it, stuff like that. And it became a moment. And to this day, there's memes with Drake's face from Hotline Bling.
That's a meme. That's
yeah,
a meme,
that's a meme. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that's when like I was recording with Jay Dawson. I was recording a short session, and Sober Up was about to come out, and I was like, bro, could you just hold my phone for me a bit? And I just did some silly dances, like all this and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I just chopped it up into a montage and gave each dance a name and released that. And then boom, like everyone's like, oh, this is hilarious, blah, 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 blah. The Sober Up dance challenge, like, and then that works because you're trying to like, because the music is very introspective. So people will think that I am just this is just a single dimension that I exist in, is this like this deep pit of darkness, but it's not. Like I am more than just DNR. Like I am actually a pretty happy human being, like sometimes and half the time. So like I want to show that through maybe different mediums, not necessarily the music, but show it through the videos, show it through my stories. When I go live on like Linthorpe Road and me and my friend are just talking to random people on like Linthorpe Road, like that's like, I don't know, like that's where I can show to the people who I am.
Yeah. And is that to differentiate between the artist and the sort of, I speak about the artist and the human, you know, do you want that to be separate, or do you want it to be sort of together?
I think I do it to kind of bring it together.
Okay.
Yeah. So like there's the human, and they realize that the artist is the human.
Yeah.
And it's like the yin yang, like that type, like the polarity.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And obviously, I mean, the first tune I heard of yours was Classic. And then it was Spit One Lyric. And obviously a lot of every single time you came to one of my events, I've been like, can you do Classic and Spit One Lyric?
There was that one time I forgot to. I did put it on a USB. I don't know what happened, but
yeah. Like, how important is versatility within music as an artist?
Okay, so this is something to me. Well, my first answer is I love all music. Not all music, as in like I'm gonna go and start a screamo band, because I can't. I don't find that pleasant. I know there's a lot of skill in that, but that's not me. So, but I love all kinds of music, and I was raised on all kinds of music. So I love tapping into that and showing people that I'm into all these things. But at the same time, this is like a bit of game. Not game. Fucking, I'm talking as if I'm like a wise human being, but like it's game as in like, this is my approach. It's like if you look for a certain song, you can find it in Eyeconic catalog.
Yeah.
You want to listen to grime? Well, Eyeconic has grime. You want to listen to hip hop? Well, like, why go to that guy? Eyeconic has grime. I mean, hip hop. Like, why go and venture outside of this little safe zone that you've got for yourself, when everything you need emotionally, or like whatever you're looking for to get out of music, you have it right here. And it's not that like these sounds sonically, sometimes they sound a lot different, but in a way they still fall in their like iconic category. So it's nothing out like insane, but you still feel as if you're getting a completely different genre, or like a completely different human being through it. So then it creates like this world where people can exist in it, and they don't need to venture out to other artists.
That's good. It's clever. It's very clever. And I think versatility is so important as well now, to sort of, don't know if it's like stand out from the crowd or whatever, but you know, there's so much going on. You know, there's this. I'm not even talking about the scene, but music, in terms of music, I mean, everyone's an artist. Everyone's doing it. You know what I mean? So how do you stand out? And versatility is a very good way of doing so. And also, I think it challenges you every time as well. You know, it keeps you focused on always developing and always, you know, achieving new goals and stuff like that. I mean, I'd love to hear Scream or Iconic. Like, I won't lie. Scream one lyric. I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, man, I think it's just, I've always been a massive fan of versatility, but in the past, I've been shot down because of my versatility. Like, in terms of management and stuff like that. And they've always said, even reviews and stuff like that, have always said, you know, he needs to find his sound. And I was like, well, it's me speaking. It's my sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but do you feel like you can literally, as an artist, there's no limits anymore? You can sort of do what you want?
As long as you approach it with the proper respect that every genre
yeah
is required, then I think you can tap into the different energies. But also, when it comes to versatility, like what you mentioned there, like when you think of me, like what sound, like do I, like that's what I ask myself. I'm like, do I actually have a sound? And then I think to myself, like, why, like I must be an absolute nightmare for Park Avenue, because like, how do you even describe who I am?
Yeah.
like so it's like yeah, it's just difficult, because then like when someone's trying to explain my music to someone and they're like, oh yeah, well, like he does grime, and then they click on my thing looking for grime, but the top tunes are all like DNR tunes, so they'll be like, oh well, like where's the grime? It can cause problems as well. So it's like it seems genius, but it's a double-edged sword.
Absolutely.
Do you play any instruments, Sam?
I play a bit of piano. I know 4 chords on guitar.
That's all you need.
I started learning during first lockdown. So it was only since then I started like I know like a bit of Mac Miller on piano. And I know like I know I've been studying my music theory.
Music theory,
yeah. Yeah. We've spoke about it previously.
Circle of fifths and that, aye.
Yeah, you have to. But my mom's learning at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like just bouncing back and forth like with what we found out.
I was just curious. That's
man.
Yeah. I would love to become like, I don't know, just that guy with a piano on stage. Just
yeah, that'd be cool.
You could, man. Easy. Like this, all it takes is just, you know, just consistency. It's so important with everything. You mentioned Park Avenue Records. I can imagine that you've had quite a few people get in contact in terms of maybe wanting to manage you, you know, like, you know, social media, you know what social media is like, man. Yeah. Like, what stood out to go with Park Avenue instead of, you know, anyone else that sort of approached you and stuff like that? Because I love Park Avenue. I've got so much respect for them. Charlie, you know, is a very intelligent guy. He knows what's up.
I think it was that. It was exactly that. It was me seeing the potential in Charlie, and him seeing the potential in me that I might not see in myself all the time either. So it was like and we both learn from each other. So it's an interesting dynamic. But also we're just both honest. And I like it when people are very honest. And he approached me and he told me about this thing he wants to build. And I was interested in it because I always wanted to build something from the ground up. I really wanted to be DIY with it. Like, and I like seeing the blueprint that like people, the likes of Drake and Jay-Z have set, like, right, like Jay-Z with Rock Nation and like Drake with OVO Sounds and stuff like that, where like Drake is not really like the head of it, but he is like the guy like involved with it. So it's like it's interesting, man, and I always wanted to do something like that. So
how do you filter out, you know, the ones that you want to work with and the ones you don't? And I'm talking about in terms of promoters, events. I'm not like just, you know, stroking the ego or anything, but I can imagine you get a lot of attention in terms of that. You know, how do you filter it out?
I don't know. It's what type of value do they have for my music? Because it's so easy for someone to message me and then be like, and expect me to, I don't know, do it for free completely. And I'm just like maybe last year it was fine, but like at this point, like I'm not gonna perform for free. Like it's just it's never happening. So unless it's something that like it's like a charity gig that I've got like a lot of like connection with, and I really want to help out the cause. But apart from that, like sometimes you can just tell that like they expect you to do all the work. And I'm like, well, like this is meant to be like a 50-50 thing. And this is not only promoters, this is with everyone. And it's like it's about like is this a genuine thing, or is this just a business move? And if it is just a business move, then I need to be getting out of it just as much as you are, because then we can't like work like that. Like, and it was this year, especially when I realized that, and like in the past, I've made a lot of people money and I haven't made myself the same amount. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, how can we go into 2021 with a different mind state and approaching it out of not maybe kindness, but more out of the business side? Because at the end of the day, we're like, I would love to be up there with the people that we consider that are great, and these people are there because of the business moves that they decided to take. Like, so like if Kendrick Lamar signed to Strange Music with Tech-9 instead of signing with TDE and then with Aftermath, he wouldn't be as big as he is now. Like, so it's like it's about.
I think you got to choose your doors that you're going to walk through. You know, you've got to really. But then again, with me, with everything, it's just about trust and instinct. It's trusting me gut. You know, I don't work with everyone. I'm not even just talking about, you know, Sam Thomas. I'm talking about Wright Music and Management. You know,
of course, yeah.
You know, I especially in terms of venues, because I've been in that situation a lot where I've made money for people, and I haven't even received anything back, not even gratitude. And to be honest, sometimes gratitude is enough for me, because, you know, it has their own idea of currency. You know, for me, it's time and respect, loyalty. You know, that's my currency. And if you can, you know, put money on that as well. That's why I always was so passionate about being able to pay the artist. And especially with, you know, with original music and stuff like that. That's why every single venue I went to, you know, Ziggy's, shout out Stephen, he was like, yeah, of course we're going to pay the artist. Filthy Bones, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, you see the ones that are passionate about growing the scene, growing the, you know, because I feel like the scene's going to grow when these artists feel appreciated, you know, and they come together, you know, venues and artists, because we're all part of the same wheel, you know, we're all making it spin. And that's why it's just so important. And I was saying this yesterday on the podcast I was talking about, but, you know, there's so many people waiting for things to be built when really they've got the tools to build it themselves and make that change themselves.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I think it's just, it's so important to just really appreciate these artists, because before I started Wright Music and Management, I was an artist, and when I was going through these, you know, feeling taken advantage of, I was going through different things, but it wasn't until I moved into the other side, the promotion and management, where I could see both sides of the coin, you know. And most importantly, I could see the value of both sides of the coin, and I could sympathize with the artist, and I could empathize and sympathize with the venue as well. And it's about getting that balance as well, because the Northeast is small, but it's got a massive it's got a massive potential. It's got a big vision, but you know, it's still small, and that's it. That's why it's so important to build that community and you know, build the community and help other artists out, but also not feel like you're being you feel like you're being taken advantage of, because ultimately that's going to just put you off.
Yeah, 100%.
Supporting the scene anyway. But yeah, man, no, I think that's good. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Jack?
No.
Is there anything you want to say, Sam?
I think the rest of the country couldn't give a fuck about what happens in the Northeast. And that's like, this is just me being brutally honest. I don't think anyone cares about what happens up here. And it's clear as day when you walk through, let's say, Middlesbrough, when you walk through Ashington, when you walk through all these like places in the Northeast that were used because like they made money for people, and now since they don't make money for people, there's just zero investment into it. And that's why even more as human beings that live in these places, we have to stick together and try and create something, because no one cares about us. And that's like the brutal fact of it all. And I know I turned it into like some mad political speech, but like, yeah, so like I think keep that in mind.
If no one cares about, well, we've got to make sure that, you know, we give them something to care about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's why we need to stick together and be the family, like not even the family, but kind of like just show the world, like, look, this is you guys are the reason why we've got fire, like this, all this, like when I walk outside, bro, and I walk through some of these like areas in Middlesbrough, this gives me fire when I see on, like, I don't know, it makes me feel a certain type of way. It's kind of like, you know what, like, you guys think we can't do this, but we will, and like the North will be hard, like, and I don't, by the North I don't mean like Leeds or Manchester, I mean the North, like, after Middlesbrough, that's the cutoff point, bro. I don't want to hear like that man's talking about like North,
small town in Yorkshire, small town in Yorkshire.
I think it's because they're looking at it from distance. And the thing is that when you look at something from distance, just one thing, it's so small. But if you bring more and more things together and you pack them together, it's going to get bigger and bigger. And it's the same, like if one person's shouting, you can't really hear them. If 10,000 people are shouting, you're going to hear it from distance. You know what I mean? So it's about not feeling like we're the underdogs anymore. Doing what we're doing, but doing what we're doing together, you know, and just building that community. And people like the venues are going to build the community. People like Park Avenue, Any Rising, you know, Shutter Productions, you know, everyone, they're all going to build a community. But it's about whether we want to follow, if we want to be a part of that community, or whether we still think that we can get through this by ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like we just need that community feel, I guess.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's love, man. I think we're probably gonna we'll touch on some really interesting topics. I'm really happy with.
Thank you so much for having me, and one love to you, Jack. One love to you, Sam, and hold tight, Park Ave, hold tight, Shaq, hold tight, 90, bro.
Yes,
boom.
Man.
Reality, Charlie Lazel.
You all know who you are, man. You all know who you are.
Oh, the new track you did with Letty as well. It's a good song.
Yes, I'll
one love to Letty. Yeah, one love to Letty. Please check it out if you haven't.
I'll listen to that, man. It was quality. I love how you keep saying it was poetic, and I love that. That's what speaks to me. But
yeah, it was like a list poem.
Yeah, man, I love that. I love how you both did the same thing as well, but from your own perspectives. It was just so clever. I love that too, man. Yeah, thank you so much, Sam, aka Eyeconic. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Stay blessed, boys.
Yes, look after yourself. Jack, thank you again for joining.
As always, hopefully see you soon.
Yes.
One love.
Yeah, man, this has been Chat Fox, another episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your feedback. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bus!